Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMaine. Many of the stories viewed here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. Here are the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native American news sources. The trial of American Indian Movement members John Boy Panton Graham and Richard Dick Marshall in Rapid City, South Dakota has been delayed again over issues of whether Graham, a Canadian Indian, can be tried by the federal government and the United States when federal statutes do not define him as a federally recognized Indian. Judge Lawrence Pearsall on May 5th said the trial date for both defendants to be tried together will not be set until after the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rules on his dismissal of an aiding and abetting murder charge against Graham because he may not be considered an Indian while on Indian reservations in the United States. Both men are charged with various counts of murder for the 1975 execution of Anime Pictou Aquash on the Pine Ridge Reservation, who AIM leaders came to believe have been an FBI informant. A statue of Sacagawea in the northern Idaho city of Lewiston, Idaho, is getting a makeover to restore its original luster. The 5-foot 2-inch statue, created in 1990, has its hands outstretched and is part of a fountain being rebuilt with interpretive signs and an underground water supply system. Sculptor Sharon Taylor Hall is treating the statue with heat and car wax. The fountain is scheduled to be rededicated on May 17th. Sacagawea guided explorers Lewis and Clark on their trip to the Pacific Northwest. A former Rapid City, South Dakota police detective has filed a federal lawsuit alleging civil rights violations and racial discrimination during his 20-plus years on the police force there. Glenn Yellow Robe, 52, seeks back pay, unspecified damages for emotional distress, and punitive damages in a complaint filed April 30th in Rapid City, South Dakota. Defendants include the City of Rapid City, the Police Department, former Police Chief Craig Tizen, current Police Chief Steve Allender, and unidentified other employees of the Police Department or City. Yellow Robe, a Rosebud Sioux tribal member, worked in the department as a patrol officer, detective, and licensed compliance officer. The 25-page complaint states that from the beginning of his employment with the department in 1985, plaintiff Yellow Robe was subjected to racial comments directed toward him, other Native Americans, and other racial minorities. Federal stimulus money will fund improvements at the Flandreau Indian School in eastern South Dakota. Several Native American school districts in the state are in line to receive money, but Flandreau is getting the most, more than $23 million. Flandreau's 270 students come from 48 tribes in 25 states. Most of the money will be used to update buildings such as the dormitories, upgrade heating and cooling system, and make repairs to the aging buildings. A member of the Yakama Nation is the new executive director of the Columbia River Intertribal Fish Commission, effective July 1st. Leaders of the commission's 4-member tribe selected 45-year-old Baptiste Paul Lumley late last month for the position. Lumley has been serving as executive director of the National American Indian Housing Council in Washington, D.C., but had previously worked for the commission. Lumley succeeds only Pat Jr. of Warm Springs, who held the position for 5 years. The 32-year-old commission provides technical support and coordinates fishery management policies for the Columbia River Basin Treaty Tribes. They are the Warm Springs and Umatilla in Oregon, Yakima and Colville in Washington, and the Nez Perce in Idaho. A group representing tribes and commercial fishermen from California and Oregon that has protested at Berkshire Hathaway Incorporation shareholder meetings in the past were back again this year, but this time they were praising Berkshire, led by billionaire investor Warren Buffett, that in Omaha, Nebraska, to show their support for the decision by the company's utilities unit to back a preliminary agreement to remove 4 dams on the Klamath River near the California-Oregon border. Representatives of the tribes and a spokesman for the Pacific Corp utility owned by Berkshire said they are optimistic a final deal on the future of the Klamath River can be reached before a June 30th deadline. Removing the dams is widely seen as a key to restoring dwindling West Coast salmon runs. The 4 dams built between 1908 and 1962 block salmon from 300 miles of spawning habitat, while producing enough electricity to power about 70,000 homes. The Pacific Fisheries Management Council has recommended calling off California's commercial Chinook salmon fishing season for the 2nd year in a row because of concerns about the fish population. And that's Warren Buffett, not the luncheon. The Alaskan Federation of Natives, in partnership with the National Congress of American Indians, is launching a new national initiative in the tradition of its successful Alaska Marketplace competition. Native Insight, Thoughts on Recession, Recovery, and Opportunity is a writing competition crafted to tap the wisdom and ingenuity of our Native communities and to encourage Native thinkers to go public with their perspectives on the challenges and opportunities in our current economic and political landscape. When the competition winners are announced in October, $60,000 will be distributed among 3 Alaska Native winners and 3 Native Hawaiian or Lower 48 winners, with opportunities for their winning essays to be published in Native journals and magazines across the United States. Along with the National Congress of American Indians, AFN is also partnering with the Council for Native Hawaiians in Advancement to reach Native communities across the nation. The competition is open to Alaskan Natives, Native Hawaiians, and American Indians of all ages. You can get more information on the net at nativeinsight.org. Jessica Hale, Bad River, Ojibwe, will be awarded the 2009 Literary Advocate of the Year Award from Wisconsin Literacy, Inc. at their 7th annual celebration of literacy at the Edgewater Hotel in Madison, Wisconsin on May 7th. The award ceremony is a celebration of award-winning adult learners, tutors, and literacy advocates in Wisconsin. Ms. Hale was nominated for the award by Lakudere Ojibwe Community College's Adult Basic Education Program. Sue Reynolds, the education program coordinator, said she felt that Hale was responsible for saving the program and said the high school dropout rate for Native Americans is around 50%. And the thought that we would have lost our program in this high poverty, low opportunity rural Native American community was unthinkable. The ABE program helps provide opportunities for high school dropouts to obtain a GED or high school equivalency degree. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank our underwriters for helping us with this broadcast and you for joining with us again. Miigwech.